Well, this is a welcome distraction from all the vagaries of the economy, I tell you. Mr. Peterside will tell us why. I'm sure he agrees. Good morning. He joins us next, as a matter of fact. Good to see you again today on the program. Well, what have you been up to ever since? It's been a while we had you on the program.
Well, I've been enjoying myself and taking a beautiful rest. I'm back to Nigeria. I'm in Port Harcourt as I speak to you. It's been a while. I've been away for 25 years. So I'm trying to adjust myself back into the system and see how valuable I can be.
Okay, we'll talk about what you've been doing in a moment, but at the moment we seem to be loving the Flying Eagles, and they're rightly called because they're doing the right things, except, well, yes, so far, beating Argentina. Now they're going to face their next opponent, South Korea. But from the performance of this team, are we having our hopes too high, or do you think people are just generally cautiously optimistic, or perhaps just enjoy the ride while it lasts? We'll come back to the spirit of sportsmanship much later. Whatever happens, happens.
I think we've suffered for a very long time. With our national teams not doing too well, so the pressure's been on Nigeria as a whole. We never win games. In the last few years, I would say we hardly win games. And I had somebody say this is the president's victory. There's always been this thing, that every time we have a president, we look at our results. That when we win games in football, it means that the president will do well. So the day he was sworn in, we won our game. So it's a good sign. It's actually a good sign. And we must give it to the boys. We must give it to the boys. Remember, they've played some of the top teams in the world. They've played against Italy, and played against Brazil, played against Argentina now. In anywhere in the world, these are top teams. And with their youth system, that is almost near to perfection. We're quite surprised because most of our players are home-based players. And we're quite surprised that they've done this well thus far. For me, the game against Argentina, I wasn't too sure we're going to win. I really wasn't too sure. After we had the drubbing from Brazil, I felt the morale was going to be low. And thank goodness, absolutely goodness, that they turned around and they've made Nigeria so proud.
But that match against Brazil, and then having seen the performance of the boys after that match up until now, I know we'll be facing our next opponent, which is not Brazil. Do you get the impression that looking at the performance, we could have corrected our errors and we could face them head on this time and possibly even nick it?
I think so. When we got to play Brazil, technically we had qualified. We knew that with 6 points, we were up to the quarterfinals, to the next round. So most times your mindset is like, okay, let's preserve our players. Let's not go in for those hard tackles. I remember these players at 20 years, 18, 19, they want to sell themselves. So they're basically careful. They're not just playing for Nigeria. They're playing for themselves and playing for their future. So you expect them to be careful, which was what happened against Brazil. And Brazil, as at that time, had 4 points, and they needed to win against us to qualify, which they did. The dicey game we played against Argentina was quite a shock. Like I said, no one, even in the football circle, among media people, too many people did not give them a chance that they were going to win against Argentina. Argentina had come into this game with 9 points. They had won their last 3 games, and they are the host. There's this saying that FIFA would always want the host to go further, because the further they go, the more it's good for the tournament there. So there's always this theory here and there that FIFA would support the host teams, the referee would support the host teams. But well, this time it didn't work that way. Thank God for the VAR. It didn't work that way, and Nigeria convincingly, I would say convincingly, beat Argentina. And we're to the next round. We're playing another game on Sunday, which is the most dicey of all the games we're going to be playing in this tournament.
Well, having beaten the host, they should just adopt us as the host then. And there's nothing wrong with that. So,
it doesn't work that way, Chamberlain.
I know, but...
Yeah, they will hate us now. People will start booing us, The fans will boo us. They'll come against us because we deprive them of the joy of lifting the trophy, of going further. So we will be enemies. All the fans in Argentina will hate the Nigerian team.
I think we should just flip that booing and use it to our advantage. That should spur us on and say, okay, well, you know what, you think you can boo us, then we'll put on a better performance. Yeah. But how far do you see this team going?
I think we should take the game, the matches per game. We watched the game yesterday when Korea played Ecuador. So what a game of football! Very dicey. The Koreans are quick. The same thing happened to us. If I reflect, I was the media officer of the Super Eagles, and we were in South Africa 2010. We were playing all our games, and we needed to get a draw. I think a draw against the same Korean side to be able to progress to the next level. This was 2010 World Cup. And we were all saying, you know, the Nigerian Palace, we'll go finish them, we'll go kill them, we'll move to the next round, which affected us, and we did not win that game. They had come to the dressing room. I know Adenuga, as at that time, had come to the dressing room where he had to address the team and promise us $1 million. $1 million if we beat Korea, which is what is going to happen to this team. And I've always said it, leave these players alone. I just saw a video where some guy went to the teams and promised them, gave them $3,000 for winning. We must keep money away from this team. We must allow these boys to focus. I've always said it. There's this thing we do in Nigeria that is quite irritating. You bring officials into the dressing room. You bring NFF staffs into the dressing room. It's confusion. Allow the coach to sit with the players, address the players, impact the players with the knowledge that he wants to impact them because they have another game to play or have 45 minutes to go into. It's become a norm in our national team, and it's killing us.
I hope they'll get it right this time. I mean, we just saw footages of that flying header. I can't get enough of that flying header, second goal there, or fantastic scenario. That's the Eagles of old.
I jumped in my house. I was like, I was one that scored the goal. I screamed and I knew it was over because we were under a lot of pressure. The tension was unbearable until we got the second goal.
You know, I'll leave my colleagues to talk about the next match much later. But let me ask you this before then. These young lads, you said mostly home-based. Now we've got new government in different states at the center as well. We don't know how much of those governors are interested in football or in sports because it's a massive avenue that we could fly the flags of this country across the world really high. So from where you are in Rivers, what can you tell us about sports development, probably football in the States?
I think when it concerns sports, we have the best governor, or we had. You know, shockingly to say we had the best governor. He was a pillar of sports in Nigeria. You know, we could see he started the Real Madrid Academy, which I think the present governor will look to. The Rivers State United team, the Angels team. You know, a whole lot of things were done for sports. The biggest regret I think he would have is that Rivers United did not win any continental tournament, which is a big shame that with all the monies that were spent, we did not win the Continental Cup for him just to crown his effort. The new governor, it's crazy about sports, absolutely crazy about sports. And I know that he plays for an all-star team. You know, I don't want to mention the name of the all-star team he plays. He plays for an all-star team here in Port Harcourt. You know, and somehow there's been an interaction. We've talked sports a little bit here and there with people around him, and his love for the game, his love for sports is just unbelievable. So we believe in that. Well, we don't know who will be the sports commissioner. We just hope that he gets the right sports commissioner, not just a sports commissioner that is a sports person. It's not political. It has to be a sports person. We need a whole lot of things to play. You know, we have a massive facility here. We need the sports commissioner to be involved in swimming, in cricket, in hockey, in football, and a whole lot of things. And we're here watching, you know, and we hope that right decisions will be made. But I do believe, I really do believe, he loves the game, he loves the sports, and River State is basically a sports hub. So we will support him in any which way he needs our support. We'll advise in any way. You know, for me to have come back to Nigeria after 25 years, I think I have loads of experience that if we're called upon to support in any which way, we'll be available.
I know there's still lots of questions about sports at the national level, the national stadium, for example. I mean, such a sore point for lots of Nigerians. If you can hear me, Mr. Peterside? Okay, looks like we'll try to fix that. Can you hear me now, Mr. Peterside?
I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. I was just referring to the National Stadium, Abuja. I mean, the floodlights, all of those very, very sad stories we hear coming out of that. Still, we have, you know, sports people, the under-20, for example, that are trying to do the nation proud and would like to tie our grassroots sports naturally to how they perform out there, but it will look like time and again they keep defying all of the odds. What do you expect? Because I know that whatever comes out of this will be tied to the government. I remember one of the players dedicating his goal to President Tinubu just after that match. But we need to speak the hard truths to ourselves and talk about our grassroots. So what is your expectation? We'll talk about the match against South Korea, but I just wanted to speak to what you will expect, maybe from the national stadium issues to, you know, what the coming Minister of Sports needs to do and all of that.
Well, we from the videos and the things we've had around, I remember that ex-players at a particular time went to visit Tinubu when he was officially declared the flag bearer of APC. We have had sports ministers. Okay, our last sports minister, Darren, give it to him. But I think he was more all about the economic side. Yes, he might not like me to say this, but economic side of the game. We need a typical sports person, for me. A typical sports person. We need ex-sports person, ex-player, someone that has played the game, someone that has been involved. And we have a whole lot of educated ex-players in every sport, swimming, hockey, athletics, whatever it is. We have a lot of them educated enough. I think they should be brought in. Our sports must be run by a sports person. The Minister of Sports must be a sports person.
Well, Mr. Peterside, I mean, you took the word right out of my mouth, because one of the issues that's most disturbing for me, I look at the excitement of those boys after scoring the second goal, after winning that match. The excitement is just communicable, if I can use that term. So the question for me is sustaining and institutionalizing the structures that can help those things to continue. The players only want to do one thing, and that is play. Have fun on the football pitch. Just have fun. But when they have to go to the field with the bother in their head, am I going to get paid? When am I going to get paid? All those issues, it's a certain distraction for them. So on the one hand, we have the footballers and the sportsmen doing their thing. But we seem to have a drop down, for want of a better word, with the managers of the game, as you have put it. You talked about the sports minister being more interested in the business of it. But then you are saying a sports person should come in. The challenge that we may have now is, if we have a sports person, and that is definitely someone who will understand, you know, the vagaries of the situation and all of that, but we seem to have more challenge in the area of management of both the personnel, the talents, and the business of the game. Don't you think?
Kayode, that's what I'm saying. You need a sports person that understands the feelings of the players. Without the players, be it hockey, football, cricket, without the players, no sports. Now, the emphasis must be on the goose that lays the egg. We don't do that. We don't put emphasis on our sportsmen anywhere in the world, anywhere in Europe. These players are more valuable. All we hear here is who is the NFF president, who is the president of the Hockey Association, but no emphasis is placed on the goose. So we must look at how will these players function optimally? What structures do they need to function? They have their coaches. How do we support them to function? What is happening in our sports is systematic decay. I call it systematic decay because the fish rot things from the top. The president there doesn't love the game. The sports minister doesn't love the game. The administrators don't love the game. They're after what will come to them.
Right.
Now, it's systematic decay. And it trickles down to the performance. It trickles down to the performance of the players.
Right.
So we must look at it from the top there. Look at our stadiums. Look at already the Abuja Stadium that was built with billions of naira. You can't play on the pitch. It's absurd.
Really,
the pitch is not good.
It's one of the sad tales of sports in Nigeria, and I'm glad you're raising that point. We need to wrap up very soon. I was going to call you, Bishop, just a moment. Maybe it's one of the people that was just calling you right now. But we have a match on Sunday against South Korea. I mean, look at South Korea beat Ecuador. Recall that Ecuador beat Fiji. What was it, 7-0 or some outrageous scoreline? Yeah. What do you expect Coach Ladamboso to do this time around? Yes, we beat Argentina, but South Korea can be tricky.
Okay, well, there's a sequence I've seen. I will try to send messages across. Play. That's what I use the word play. Okay? Because at this age, they want to play, they want to be seen. Already we're hearing information. So there's a player, our central defender, it wants to be signed by Bayern Munich. Our midfielder wants to be signed by Anderlecht. We don't need that kind of distraction. Keep away the agents from these players and tell them play for your country. Play for your country. Play as a team. Have the team cohesion first. Then later, the legacies of your performance will show. Play for the country. Play as a team. I saw Argentina when Argentina played us. There was a number 10 that had the ball. If he had just passed the ball to his colleague, he would have scored. But he wants the glory. He wants to be another Messi. So he shot from a very tight angle. We must dissuade that. Play as a team, pass the ball around, and build your team.
All right, Mr. Peterside, we're expecting that. Hopefully, we should be seeing Rivers leverage on some of the experience that you've garnered over the years, because if he loves football and several other sports, people will want to see results, I reckon. All right. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Ida Peterside, and all the best to you and Rivers, as a matter of fact.